Hello. I'm gonna chit chat during the opening phase here a little bit this time, rather than be completely silent. Um, the screen will pop up as soon as we are clear of the opening ad, which, of course, the thing's no longer telling me about. But I've watched back a couple of my own videos on YouTube. These get uploaded to YouTube. You might be watching this on YouTube. And there's this long period of silence in the beginning with no signal of what's happening. That's this part. So I'm just going to sit here and I'm standing around and chit chat. A lot of things have happened today, and it's been quite exciting for me. We've got a new toy to play with, which I can show off, but it's not really very exciting to look at. We've got some ingredients. We're going to make some fun, cozy, happy coziness. Here, let me add this tags. Add tags. So yeah. Not sure what to talk about. Just feel like there shouldn't be silence, and I haven't gotten music for the opening section yet. I was gonna. I've actually got ingredients for it, so we could do it. Try doing the fixed version of the Swedish pizza, but I think I'm gonna go for something a little more cozy. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Do it for lunch. We could do it for lunch. There's no reason I can't do these for lunch, aside from it being a time slot that no one's expecting. How's it going in chat world, in chat land? There's our ad play. Post that around a little bit. Oop, I didn't copy the whole thing. Copy the whole thing. There we go. And we should be clear. Oh, a few seconds left. Few seconds left. Few seconds left. Oh. Let's see. I don't think I have any bay leaves. I've got some. Eh. We'll wing it. Hello, welcome. I'm here. It's the first snow of the year. It's a chilly day. I spent yesterday doing errands that I didn't feel like I wanted to go out and do in the snow, filling up the bird feeders, doing all sorts of stuff. I've lost track of time in the afternoons recently, and it has caused me to not do this. With the snow, I didn't go out and do stuff today, so there was nothing interrupting me. But I don't know. I don't know. I need to set myself a schedule and stick to it. That's what needs to happen. And I need to write it down so that you guys can also hold me accountable to it. But what we are doing today, since it's the first snow of the year, not that that's hard, it's pretty beginning of the year. Although, honestly, 9 days into January with no snow is kind of weird. But I'm going to make a nice cozy soup. I picked up this leek. We're going to have to cut off this dry leaf, but that's fine. Other than that, I picked this up last week sometime, and it's just kind of been sitting around. We're going to use this leek. I've got a bunch of potatoes. We're going to have some potatoes, and we are going to make a potato leek soup, which I thought would be a nice sort of warm, cozy, nice thing. Since I've only got one leek, we're not going to be making a ton of it. I've got a reference recipe here from Once Upon a Chef. We've used them before. And they want 4 leeks, and they're making 6 servings of this. So we're going to cut that down and make, I guess, 1.5 servings of it. We also don't have the same kind of potatoes, and a bunch of this stuff's going to get wung. And I can talk about stuff while we are slowly cooking our way through this today. We're getting a big pot out to start, because everything is going to be done right in the pot. Where's my board? And step 1 of soup is some butter. We don't need a ton, and we're putting more dairy in later, so we don't want to overload it, even if butter is delicious. We'll get that warming. Set the butter aside for further use. And step 2 is get this here leek sliced up, which Hookwoman. I think my snow has actually stopped. We ended up getting, I don't know what the official total was, but peaking out around probably a bit less than 2 inches. Not a ton of snow for me. But yeah, I thought the soup was good. I've got ingredients. I didn't want to go out and get new ingredients. I'm using ingredients I've already got. Break down your leek. Here's the 3 parts of the leek. There's the little root bit, this bit, which is usually the white and light green parts from just above the root up to where the leaves kind of separate out. And you've got this bit. We're going to peel off that dried up leaf. And we're going to, I think, probably also peel, oh, yeah. And dirt gets stuck in between these guys a lot. So we're going to, am I going to get rid of this whole thing? No, I'm going to take off the dry part and take off the dry part. We're going to rinse the dirt out. The way leeks grow, they naturally pick up some dirt in between the leaf sections as they come out the ground. So you end up with a little bit of dirt in between, especially up in the leafy part. The leafy part is fully edible. It's often recommended to be discarded because the tips get dried out and it's a little tougher, but it is edible. I'm just cutting away the obviously dried up bits. We are going to use the tops here. After I rinse them off. Rinse that dirt out. We don't want the dirt getting in our soup. I'm going to turn my butter off so I don't burn it while I'm doing the... Yeah, cleaning them is the annoying bit. So we're just going to take all these leaf tops. I'm just going to take them over to the sink and run them under some cold water. The dirt is literally just dirt, so it rinses away very easily. There's a little bit of dirt that gets on the cutting board when you break into it, so we're going to brush that away before I jump in. Megs! Hi. Proto in little bag. Welcome. And hello. We're trimming up leek tops. No spoiler. Yes, I always have the no spoiler tag on. I don't want spoiling my food. So if you're using leek tops, which we are, they do take a little bit longer to cook than the main part that you usually use, which is that log there. So you want to get them in a little bit ahead and give them a head start on everything else. I think they have a little bit more flavor, but they are slightly more of a hassle to use because they're tougher and dirtier. So I wanted to make sure to get them started right away. And I can see a small gap in there, so I do want to split this guy and see if there's any dirt caught in this part as well. Actually, it looks pretty clean. I think the dirt was all above it. So you don't want, I split it in half because you don't want the rings for most uses of leek. I really like leeks. They're such a good flavor, but they are definitely a bit of a tougher use than their relatives in the onion family. They're very fibrous. They tend to be kind of dirty, so you have to clean them. They take longer to cook. We do want to kind of cook these guys to nearly a mush. Not fully a mush, and they're sturdy enough that they won't ever go really fully mushy unless you just cook the hell out of them. We almost, I think, want to add a little bit more butter to this. No, I said don't add too much butter, but I think we need slightly more lubrication at the bottom of the pan. I could just throw in some olive oil. But since we've got the butter handy, we are going to just throw in another pat of butter. And a pinch of salt to help the leeks start to really sweat out. And we probably want that a little bit below where I have it on the heat as well. We don't want this to get all burned or brown. We just want it to get nice and soft and wilty. Got them started. I'm gonna mash up a little bit of garlic, because of course you gotta put in some garlic. How's everyone doing? I was last here on the 1st. It's been 8 days. There was a big gap in there. I have a bad habit of putting things off that I think are important, and I think my head has gotten myself to the point where I think this is important, so I'm putting it off. The show is important, so I keep putting it off, which is not great. But I've also gotten a bunch of like bits and pieces and odds and ends and hardware that has been exciting, and I've had to deal with. I will show them off. There's going to be a little bit of downtime because the soup's going to have to simmer. I think I'm going to make some quick bread to go with it. We will cross that road when we come to it. I also think I want to throw a shallot in here. Shallot and garlic both need to go in before any liquids so that they can get nice and started. We are going to a little bowl. Pop back over to the counter. As always, smash up your garlic well enough in advance of when you want to use it that it has a chance to do the chemistry and really develop its flavor. If you smash it directly into the heat, you will kill the enzymes before they have a chance to develop those fun garlicky flavors, and your garlic will be noticeably milder, which can be a desirable outcome if that's what you're going for, but I typically want to taste the garlic when I'm putting garlic in things. We're going to end up now, I guess, with a 3 alliums base for this. I'm also debating a little bit of celery, which should go in probably right now. In fact, I should stop peeling this shallot and throw in some celery right now. I say as I continue peeling the shallot and not throwing in the celery. Celery will soften up in the soup process, but it would be nice to get it a little bit started on the dry heat before I throw it into the wet heat. Also, because I've got some celery that I already had to pull some of the outer bits off of because it was getting, because I didn't use it, so it was getting a little creepy. So we had to sort of trim off the outer bits of the celery. Use that guy and just the one. I don't want a ton of celery. Well, does the recipe call for any of this? The recipe at this stage calls for leeks. So, no. I'm making it up. Throwing stuff in. I don't know, celery feels like a thing that would go in a soup to me. And the aforementioned, I've got it and I got to use it up. The recipe does call for garlic in the future, so getting the garlic ready is important. I mean, honestly, recipes, for the most part, are guidelines, not hard laws. There's a lot of variables they don't account for, and you just have to take care of them. Like when it calls for a number of leeks. Leeks come in all different sizes. I've seen leeks as big as my arm and leeks as small as something much smaller than my arm. Okay. Throw in some shallots. Stir them around. Our leeks are getting a little bit browned because I think I've got this slightly too hot. But, whatever. Oh, that shallot was punchy. Got in my eyes. Okay. I've also got these potatoes that I got to use up, which is the bigger reason I wanted to do this today. They're developing eyes. So we're going to thoroughly trim them out. How many potatoes does this want? It wants 2 pounds of potatoes. We're not doing 2 pounds of potatoes. I guess if we're cutting this by 4, we're going for half a pound of potatoes. I don't even know how much that is in terms of number of potatoes. So I guess we have to get the scale out just to keep things. How much is that potato? 3 ounces. 6 ounces. What's that in pound? I always forget. I always forget imperial measurements. Half pound to ounces. 8 ounces. Okay, we're gonna use this little baby guy, and he's gonna be our other potato. Okay. I should probably throw the garlic in the pot, get it started. Then I can dump some liquid on top of it. We're going to use... Oh, we should use... we could use canned chicken broth. Yeah, close enough. Let's get this guy in. Stir us around. Go until you can smell the garlic. That's what they say as cook until fragrant. I've got a can of canned chicken broth, which I think is going to be my usage here. Get rid of these potato peelings. I should have probably plussed all of my mises before starting this. I don't want that little tip. That would have been a good idea, because at the moment I'm kind of letting the leeks overcook. So we're just going to dice up these potatoes and throw them in the pot real quick. And then we can... drown it in liquid and make it a soup. And then I can start throwing herbs at it as well. Purpose of a potato leek soup is to make this sort of a thick... The potatoes make a thick, starchy broth. And then you blend it at the end to really make it smooth. Yeah. Okay. So canned chicken broth, because I don't have any of the stuff that comes in the carton. That's just about... Well, it's an awkward amount. It is not a just about anything. It is not a round number in either measurement system. That's just great. Why is that a thing? Oh, how much broth does the recipe want? 7 cups of chicken broth. 7 divided by 4. 7/4. So 1 3/4. Oh, that's my eyes. My eyes. My eyes are reacting like I got gassed with the onions. Oh, damn. What the heck? Excuse me a sec. I gotta. What the heck happened? I can't see. That was weird. I felt like I really got absolutely gassed with the onions, but like only just now. Weird. Um. Well, the amount of in that can was just about right, so I'm gonna add a little bit more liquid, but not a ton more liquid. Um, we don't need a ton more. We do need this to come to a boil, so we'll bring the heat up on it because the potatoes need to be cooked. Cooked. And I'm going to add some herbs to it. See, I think I'm out of bay. So we're gonna skip the bay. We could add a little bit of oregano. That's not dissimilar. What I'm gonna add, for one thing, is unfortunately my thyme plant died, but it's still here. It's just all dried up. So we're gonna use up some of my dried up thyme plant. Because it's still nice and thymy. Oh, we have an ad. Caution, ad. So these are some really badly dried up thyme stems. But the little leafies still taste like thyme. I've had trouble with getting thyme to go through the winter with me in the past, so I'm not surprised that I lost this one. But it is unfortunate. I wish I had a good place to plant it outside. Okay. Sometime, I think, definitely want some black pepper. Bring that down to a simmering temperature. It's already got salt. It's already got salt. Not much else in it. The potato leek soup is supposed to be kind of an understated thing. It's gentle flavors. Chives. I got chives, but that's for serving on top. I think you guys are back from the ad break. No, what? Great. My things are disagreeing about when the ads are happening, so that's always a delight. Okay. We are going to transfer him to the back burner. And I'm going to think about like a quick flatbread. Can I make a quick flatbread? Quick flatbread. Easy, fluffy flatbread. move stuff out of the way. This doesn't sound right. Who wants to see me go completely experimental with some bread? I do. I vote for experimental bread. Oh, looks like I bumped my camera. There's a weird angle to it. Can I fix that? Can I fix that? Can I overfix that? Probably. Yeah. That's better. You guys normally can't see the bottom corner, so the angle wasn't evident. Let's make a thing. Let's just go nuts. Let's suddenly remember that I have a candle in the other room here, and I should probably either bring that in with me or smother it. And I'm going to smother it. Because the soup just needs to simmer for a while, get those potatoes nice and soft. So my latest toys, one of them is quite large. It's a vacuum food sealer, which I got from a thrift store, and it was broken. But I fixed it, and I tested it on some potatoes. And it worked perfectly. So now we can do vacuum sealed stuff, which means we can do sous vide stuff. And that's my latest thing. We got it working just today, because the replacement gasket that I ordered arrived just today. Let's see. So that's exciting. The other new toy I got, which I haven't been able to figure out how to hook up because it's a ring light, and I wanted to use it to improve lighting here because you'll notice there's these shadows, and that's because the light that is lighting this space is on the ceiling. It's all the way up here, so I can do stuff way up here and cause shadows to happen. The ring light would illuminate it from like basically right where my hand is, but a little bit farther back. But I can't figure out how to get it mounted up there without taping it on, and because it's... I think I need to acquire a new part so that I can hook it up on a bracket. Vice, I can reflect it off another surface. I can try doing that. It's a very small light. Here, let me get it. It comes with a tripod as well, which I don't think I'm going to use. Here it is. It's a small ring light, which is perfect because it fits underneath the cabinet, and it would illuminate my workspace by just give it a tester. It and then I would adjust the camera because the camera's currently got the gain a little bit high. It does that, and you'll see we're losing. So it gets a few shadows, but it sort of filters out the shadows. But I got to figure out how to mount it up there. It's the perfect spot for it. This is the guy. And then I would also love one up here to illuminate me. That'd be great. But found that at a thrift store too, which was a big surprise. Normally you can't find working things like that. Let's keep the flour handy. Keep the flour handy. We're going to throw in a pinch of salt. And now I would just knead this together, turn this into a dough, adjust the thickness. Also, welcome in. Hello. Fancy meeting you here. I should probably do just a technical stuff stream so that I can have it be live and people can give me feedback while I change stuff. That's obviously not today. That's a little bit too sticky. So adding some flour to it. I'm not making much of this. Just enough to go with a little bit of soup. You're always welcome. I've been having a hard time sticking to a schedule lately, but this is my time slot at least. So you're always welcome. Sometimes it gets a little hectic when I try to do when I try to do too many things at once and I lose track of it all. I want this to be a pliable, soft dough that I can turn into like little flatbread discs. I keep thinking I should add music as well, but I need something that would go with the overall vibe and wouldn't get me copyright strikes. But yeah, welcome in. Oop. If you're interested, we have anonymous follows because I haven't bothered to set up an alert for follows, and I don't have the thing open. So I won't even know you've followed until afterwards when I switch over to the dashboard panel and see, oh, somebody followed. We want this to not stick to me, not stick to the table, but to stick to itself pretty well. Some of that's going to come from just getting the gluten to develop. It'll help it bind to itself. But some of that is getting the right proportions of flour to liquid. I've gotten a better feel for doughs just by doing this, just by practicing. Some doughs are a little weird, but most doughs kind of have similar properties when you get to the point where they're done. So you can kind of get a just tactile feel for what they're supposed to be like. Oh my god. I have unused follower emote slots too. I got to come up with ideas for those. So many unused emotes. They showered extra emote slots on us over the past couple of months just for free, and I didn't have ideas to use them all. But I guess thank you for the follow, since you've used a follower emote. Welcome in. Yeah, this is still. Oh, yeah, this is still getting. I think I just need a big pile of flour. It's still pretty sticky. It dries out when you put the flour on it, and then it hydrates the flour and ends up quite sticky. I might just have to get it okay enough and call it good enough, and then just flour the outside so that it doesn't stick to anything. Like this. This is a good stage. It's not currently sticking, but I can feel it getting gradually more and more tacky as I roll it. But we actually might get away with it this time. We might have actually hit the point I was looking for, where it doesn't stick to anything, just itself. And I am kneading it quite a lot. I want this to be chewy, I guess. I want it to be sturdy enough that I can use it with the soup. And also, this is just an experiment. I mean, other than having just a generalized proportion in mind, I'm not making a particular kind of bread at all. A little bit of stickage. Here you go. Oop, Zizan's here with the moisten. I don't want to moisten up the bread. We just demoistened it, but I will take a moisten. Did I have to fill up? Moist. Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. The soup is bruddling away. I got to keep an eye on it to make sure it doesn't dry out. We might add a little bit of water to that as well. Although we're going to add a little bit of milk to it, milk or cream to it later to make it a nice creamy soup. And then we're going to blend the heck out of it. But, oh yeah, that's perfect. It's holding. That's exactly what I want. So it's not dry. It's still pliable. It sticks to itself and not to me and not to the table. Let me get the residues off my hands real quick. We're gonna roll it out into little pucks. It's unleavened, so this is like the traditional bread. This is bread from the Middle Ages. Probably the bread from long before the Middle Ages, since it is unleavened. So it's not like it's going to rise. It might puff up a little bit just because the moisture in it will expand slightly. And there's enough gluten that it'll trap little bits of that as steam. But we are not expecting this to really bubble hardly at all. We're nowhere near the stage of it turning into anything like a pita or even a naan. Naan is going to be the closest thing I can think of to what I'm sort of shooting for, but naan is also leavened, and we haven't done that here. Hey, you know what we can try out? You know what we can give a test drive to today with this pan I found. This pan. It's a cast iron pan, but it's enameled instead of bare metal with an oil seasoning. This was a process invented in the 40s, so it continues today. It was very popular when it was new. Because it created pans that did not require the kind of upkeep that you usually have to with cast iron. It was a thrift store find. I got this for $3. $4, very cheap. I have not given it. I've washed it. I've cleaned it since I brought it home, but I haven't given it a test cook. All my stuff these days is thrift store finds. Vacuum sealer, the ring light, well, not everything, I suppose. This can opener that I use. See how big these guys get when you actually roll them out. Pop me over here. So we're heating up the pan there, just bare. And we're rolling out these little bread sheets. I think I want a just tiny bit of oil on the surface of the bread. but not in the pan. I don't want it, because we've had that problem before when I made things and then it sort of fried the bread, when I want just the barest amount of oil just to sort of facilitate heat transfer. So let's not oil up my hand in advance. Let's roll out the others of these guys and we can oil them all up. They roll nicely. They're nice and pliable. They definitely still have a bit of a sticky interior. So I want to keep the flour handy. But I like the texture we're going for. I've never made a completely unleavened bread like this. So we're learning together. Honestly, can't recall the last time I've had a completely unleavened bread, even as an eater. Pita and naan are close, other than I guess tortillas. Pita and naan are close, but both of them are leavened. They're just kind of flattened out. Rather than allowed to rise. Oh yeah, stir the soup. We can do that. Pop back over to the stove. Make sure the soup has plenty of liquid, that we haven't started sticking or burning. I've got it on low-ish. We definitely need more liquid in it to turn it back into a soup. It's becoming more of a thick, porridgey thing. I don't want to add the milk too early, so I'm going to actually give it a shot of plain old water to ensure that we have enough hydration that I don't have to think about it too much. Are you hot? Yeah, you're pretty hot. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our hand, a little bit of olive oil. Cover our hands in olive oil. Use our hands to gently oil up the surface of one of our little breads. And pop it in our hot thing there, and we're gonna see how this works. I did oil this one directly instead of oiling my hand. But that's the gist of this. And we're seeing what happens. With no leavening, it's not going to bubble, it's not going to poof. It's just going to kind of sit there, and we have to approximately guess when is the right time to flip it. I don't know. I am not following a recipe here. I do not know what I am making. I am making a something. I'm not intending to cook it to a complete crisp. I think if I was going for crackers, I would probably bake these. We actually are getting a little bit of bubbling, which is incredible. Wasn't expecting that. We might be able to use that as a guide for flippage. The bubbling has to be coming from moisture in the dough, turning into steam. Because, yeah, we're getting some pretty large bubbles, actually. Oh, and it's rigid, so... Ooh! Okay. It looks an awful lot like a pita or a naan. Oh, an ad snuck up on me. As always, I am never paying attention to the ads. They sneak up on me all the time. I should do what LaFay does and have the ad timer on the screen so you guys can see it. So then I don't have to constantly be saying "oops" when the ad sneaks up on us. Wash my hands real quick because I shouldn't need any more of any of the things that I've been avoiding washing my hands for at this point. Wow, it's ballooning up a lot more than I expected. I wonder if I had made these slightly thicker, if I could have actually turned them into completely unleavened pitas. Because we're getting that ballooning to a much, much larger degree than I was expecting. Put my flour away because we clearly don't need that anymore. Wow, look at the size of that balloon. I suppose the angle is weird, you can't quite see it, but... I guess we take it out of the pan because it's done. Okay. I also made them triangles, which so they're going to look like none just because they are triangles. But this is working great. When do we add the cream to the soup? Add the cream after you blend it. Okay. It's hot. They're a bit stiffer than a pita or a naan would be. We'll see once it's cooled how it like tears and chews and all that sort of stuff. It's definitely got a sturdiness to it that I think will be excellent. You're right, excellent with the soup. We can do things like do a dipping with it. I'm surprised at how much it bubbles up with no leavening in there. I was under the impression, I guess I was under the misapprehension that other flatbreads bubble up because they're leavened. But look, big old bubble. The leavening probably makes the bubbling consistent for things like a pita. As opposed to these guys, where the bubbling is kind of spotty. They do cook fast. The kneading definitely created the environment that the bubbles could form in, but I didn't think there was enough liquid in the dough to produce enough gas to inflate them. Yeah, the kneading definitely is what gave it the physical structure to contain bubbles. But the kneading didn't add any gas. And the only thing in there that's adding gas is the water in the milk. We did use milk, so there's a little bit of protein in there from the milk. That's probably helping it as well. I think our pan is slightly too hot. I think our pan is slightly too hot. Oh. Put my scales away. Put my dishes in the sink, ready to go. We're not making the third thing today. That one's getting a little bit toasty. Should have pulled the first one out before I put the hot new one on top. Get some of these things cleaned off in advance while I'm just kind of standing around. I can show off my food saver, my vacuum sealer. I got a vacuum sealer. Where did I put it? Oh. Here it is. This is the thing I got today while I'm just kind of standing around. It's too big for the camera. This is the thing I got today. Or not today. I got it last week, but it was broken. Today I got it fixed. Turns out all it needed was a $3 gasket for the vacuum thing. And it successfully sealed these 2 potatoes that I just threw in as a test. Short-term plans with it. I can use it to downsize my freezer a little bit. A bunch of the things in there have a lot of airspace. that causes them to take up a lot more room. I get them out, I can vacuum them, and then I can make more room in my freezer to put more stuff, which is not how I should be viewing this, but that might end up being what happens. First, let's see, I should get the blender attachment ready as well, since we're going to blend this soup. Once the breads are done. Once the breads are done. That one got a little bit crispier on this edge than I think I like for these things. The back sides dropping stuff. Oh, no. That was foolish of me. I had a system and I threw the last one on there with a spatula. Dropping stuff, messing stuff up at the last minute. Making loud banging noises to ruin my coziness. I added cozy to my tags, which honestly has kind of lost all meaning as a thing on Twitch. Everyone says, oh, we're cozy around here. What does that even mean? But I thought it was fitting for something that we're doing just because it's warm and comforting for a cold day. Okay. Get that guy flipped. So far I like the pan. I don't know that it's any better than a cast iron, regular cast iron. We'll have to test it with something that, because I didn't oil the pan at all, but I did oil the breads individually. So we'll have to test it at some point with something like a piece of meat and see how it behaves in terms of sticking. I think I've taken too much water out of my soup again. I'll have to see how it behaves in terms of sticking. With something that is sticky. I almost think we should just crack an egg into it. Like, clean it off. I don't want the char here. But at some point, just give it like the hardest test is make an egg in it and see how that's, because that's like the stickiest thing you can, that or like frying a cheese crisp or probably something with sugar, like melting sugar, which would definitely stick to this. That's going too far. But I wonder how it would behave with an egg, like a fried egg. We'll find out eventually. This is its first ever test run, and it's behaving similar. Leave that one on, actually. It's behaving in a similar way to a standard cast iron, except you can really see the little charred bits that it's leaving behind. We're going to move it out of the way. Bring the soup into the front burner. Oh. And I think take the heat off. Oh, that was my cord slumping. Say, while we're waiting for a moment here, how about I drop one of these here temporary invites to my Discord. If you're interested, I take suggestions, post pictures of food, although I've been dropping the ball on that lately as well. And you get a notification when I go live. Actually, if you don't get a notification, it's not a ping. I just post there when I go live. And I have to remember, I should get the bot. I have a bot. I just don't have the bot doing anything. I should have the bot do a, like, hourly reminder of the Discord. That'd be something a bot could do. Okay. So it's still boiling hot because it's still boiling. But it's slowed down. So I'm going to give it a blenderino. Hopefully this blender does not overload that outlet. And hopefully I don't spray scalding soup all over myself. This is much thicker than I think it's supposed to be. So I'm going to add more liquid back into it, in addition to the cream. But I'm going to take this opportunity to get rid of all the potato chunks before I do that. What I should do is use milk for the remaining extra liquid I need, just to make it appropriately soupy. Okay, that's enough blending. Okay, it's looking pretty good, nice and smooth and even as it's supposed to be. And then you top it with little bits of chives and I don't know, bacon and parsley or something. I am going to make it a slightly bit more soup-like. It's a little bit thick. You can see there's sort of ribboning forming on the top, and it's got sort of standing bubbles. I want it to be a bit more liquidy than that. So we're going to put some just straight up milk in it. Cream, of course, is a liquid, but it's a thick liquid, so it moderately smooths it out. Very smooth. It's very smooth right now. This is also the time to taste it for doneness. I think it needs a little bit more salt. We only added a tiny bit of salt at the start. To sweat the leeks, to get the leeks started. So a little bit of salt. Is not a surprise that it needs just a little bit of salt. Otherwise, the flavor is pretty good. It's too late to really add any major flavor components to it. Now, if I was serving this in the proper French way, I think I'm supposed to strain this through a fine sieve to ensure that there are absolutely no bits in it at all, that it is completely smooth. It looks pretty smooth. Oh, it's tasty. I'll tell you more about it when I give it an official taste. But it's tasty. What dish? I didn't think about what dish I would serve this in. Since I've got the breads, I almost want to do it in one of my wide plates. It's this light tan color, so it probably wants a dark plate to sort of stand out against it. Here, I need to go to the front to cut some chives. So which of these, oops. Oh, that's what I got rid of. There's this weird angle. I forgot I got rid of the no. It's probably about the same. Which bowl do you think, while I am getting some chives from the front? We have quite a few options laid out before you. Ooh, my chive needs water. I'm leaning toward the brown plate with the olive motif, personally, but I can see the merits of the other ones as well. No thoughts. Like so. Interesting. We'll do it. Interesting idea, and we are going to do it. We also want to test one of these breads. But first things first, we're going to do our formal plating here. Dang. Almost got away with that one. But I have to wipe that off now. We can't have a spot. We can't have a spot on the edge. Okay. Chives the easy way. They're sort of self-scattering when you do it this way because they snap off in a slightly random that. We get out of the shine a little bit. Looks pretty good. Bring in the breads. Like so. That's a good idea. And then I think you would do like just the tiniest little drizzle of cream sort of floated on the surface. But I don't want to do that, and also I am out of cream now. So we put all of it in the soup. And we don't have quite a... This is a little bit less than 2, but it'll be enough for me to have seconds of it as well. This looks pretty good. Let's go take a photo of this. With my photo machine. Since the lighting in there is actually pretty good, I wonder if I shouldn't hook up the ring light here instead for the photo station. Get some really even, clear lighting going on this end. Double bowls is an excellent idea. This looks like one of the most artsy things I've ever done, I think. Which also brings us to the tasting. Should have put the spoon there to start at the start. First of all, I want to take one of these breads and see how it is just plain. So we're going to tear it off. It tears pretty easily. It's dense. Without any yeast in it, it doesn't have that yeasted bread flavor. It tastes like an unleavened bread. So it doesn't taste like raw flour, but it tastes like cooked flour mostly. I did add a little bit of salt, and I think the milk that we put in it helps give it a little bit of dimension. Oh, I've been adding only been 6 seconds. Hold on. Snooze. Okay, caught that one. I'm literally doing the tasting. I don't want to add to play now. I like it. It is a little bit flat in terms of flavor. It definitely wants to be served with something. Which is, people don't think about the yeast being a big flavor element in bread, but yeast is most of the flavor in plain bread. Let's give it a taste with the soup, though. Mmm. Okay, I'm going to just taste the soup and talk about the soup. The soup did not take as long as we took to make it. But you could let it simmer like that we did for a while. If you need to, which we did. I hate this word in terms of food items, but it's velvety. It's thick. If I dip the spoon in on the back, it completely coats the spoon. It doesn't even drip off. It's thick and satisfying. It really fills your mouth. The flavor it's mild. It's lightly spiced. It's savory, but it's mild. It's light. So the thing itself is thick and heavy and creamy. The flavor is delicate and light. It doesn't look terribly hearty because it's just a smooth soup, but it's dense enough that it's really quite filling. I'm satisfied that this will be enough of a meal and I won't even have to supplement it with all this extra bread. Honestly, there's not much else I would do to it. We didn't put any bay leaves in. I probably would add a little bit of bay. Just because when something is this lightly flavored and delicate, bay is an enhancer that you'll actually notice the difference on. We could also have added a little bit of MSG just to kind of perk it up. I would have had to do that probably before the blend to really get it infused. Otherwise, yeah, it's really light and mild. This would be an excellent part of a larger spread. A little bowl of this, and then our breads. You can see if I hold this one, it doesn't droops a little bit, but it's sturdy. So you could, in theory, eat this soup without a spoon by just taking these guys and doing a scooper, like so. And actually, the little bits of char on the bread are a nice sort of counterpoint. They're slightly bitter for something that's this sort of gentle and mild and comforting. This is like a fancified comfort food. So it has the flavors of a comfort food, but it's been zhuzhed up by blending it and artfully serving it and all that sort of nonsense. I like it. I would do it again. I really like leeks, so that's part of why I would do it again. Because it pretty much tastes like leeks and potatoes and some very gentle, mild spices. I'm going to go and enjoy this while it is nice and hot. Which means, even though it has only been an hour and a half, I'm going to send us off a little early. Where should we drop off the party? The gentle, cozy, comforting... Not really a party, it's a... Let's see who's all on right now. What are you doing? We're checking out people. Literally just getting started, which might be a good place to drop in. George is also pretty early on. We actually get to see George cooking for a change instead of just always arriving after he's done. Okay, we're gonna go raid Zunder, who is a person I have not raided before, but I've been watching quite a bit of recently, so we're gonna go check him out. He is one of the developers of Firebot, which is extensively used by streamers. I myself have Firebot, although I have not set my Firebot to do anything. He's just getting started. He's going to play Backpack Hero. He also frequently does dev work on Firebot live on his channel, which is crazy to watch because then stuff gets live tested and you can see how everything breaks. Fun. It's interesting. It goes over my head. So yeah, I guess that's the show. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. I didn't have any grand plans today. I just felt like I should jump in and do something. And I almost feel like I should jump in tomorrow and do lunch, just to test it out, to see how that works. Yeah, so I will see you, hopefully, more times this week. I don't lose track of time and get completely spun around again. See you next time. Bye.